Today, we're going to begin our Day 2 reductive fabric drawing, and the goal is going to be to gradually erase away the mid to light tone values in our composition. As we learned yesterday, the key to a successful drawing is going to be building up your values from general to specific. You do this by building everything up evenly, by lightly rubbing out the values everywhere, being careful not to focus on one area for too long. You never want to finish one area until everything else is shaded at an equal stage. If you shade one area too much, you can create too strong of a value. You want to be able to come back and adjust values as you go. To create this even buildup of values evenly, we're going to be using the white Staedtler eraser again. Use the flat edge and gently drag the eraser across the surface to remove small amounts of charcoal at a time. You should never scribble your eraser back and forth and attempt to remove the charcoal faster. The only time that you're ever wanting to do this is if you want to crisp up an edge. So let me quickly show you what that looks like. If you have a crisp edge on the contour of your fabric, take a sheet of paper and then rub your Staedtler eraser back and forth alongside that paper. It's going to leave you with a really nice crisp edge. When you do this though, you might create a really nice bold highlight that has to be blended back into the surrounding fabric. So take your Staedtler eraser and gently erase away one little swipe at a time in a perpendicular direction to where you're helping those values blend into the surrounding values in that fabric. All of our values should gradually transition into one another and shouldn't be harsh shapes, unless you see a harsh shape in your reference photo. But normally in fabric drawings, all of your values are blending slowly into one another, where it's starting from a light gray and it's slowly transitioning into a darker gray. And because there are these slow transitions, that's why we want to be swiping away one little swipe gently at a time with that Staedtler eraser. Only through this slow, methodical process will you get really nice, realistic results. As stated earlier, your main focus today is going to be to erase away the charcoal to where you are revealing the light to mid-tone value sections in the fabric. Additionally, I also want you guys to get rid of the outlines we drew yesterday with our vine charcoal. If you have an outline in a drawing that you're shading, it tends to flatten the object. If you want your shaded drawings to look more three-dimensional and realistic, always let the values define the edge of a form, not an outline. So to get rid of these outlines, you can gently erase them away with your Staedtler eraser, or you can swipe them away very gently with your finger or the tip of a paper towel. After erasing away most of the outlines, always tap the paper on the table to remove any eraser bits that you may have. At this point, you don't want to swipe your hand across the drawing to get rid of any of the eraser bits that are left on there, because you will start destroying the contour and detail that you've been so carefully erasing away, because as you can see that charcoal is really smudgy. So from here on out in this point in the drawing, you always just want to tap those little eraser bits off and not swipe them away with your hand. After working on your drawing for a good amount of time, you should have all of your mid to light tone values built up about 70% of the way. Your outline should be taken away. And now we have to really get into the very subtle value shifts that you're seeing in your drawing. One of my favorite things that I like to do is I like to stop drawing for a second and I'll pause and look at my reference photo and compare it to my drawing. Now when I pause and do this analyzation stage, I squint my eyes to where I'm blurring out the details. This allows me to see where I have areas that are maybe too dark and where I can start going back and erasing more of those subtle highlighted shifts that I don't have in my drawing paper. For me, this is the fun part of the drawing where I get to start adding in the details. By squinting my eyes and looking for those subtle value shifts helps me be able to see where I need to improve my values better within the drawing. Now, in addition to looking for these subtle value shifts, I'm still going to continually go in with that extra piece of paper to crisp up certain contours throughout my entire composition. With that piece of paper, that's the only time that you can rub your eraser back and forth. Just remember that you always have to gently swipe in the perpendicular direction of that edge to get that value to blend with the surrounding values in the fabric. For this drawing, you're going to be assessed on how well you've matched the proportion sizes of every fabric triangular fold, how well you've matched the values, and how well you've matched the value transitions from one into another. If it's a soft transition, I should be able to see that. And you create that by, once again, gradually erasing the pigment away of that charcoal, one gentle swipe at a time. Now, if you do have an area that is really, really bright highlight, you can put a more firm pressure on that eraser to remove more charcoal. Just make sure that as you erase into the darker sections, you're gradually lifting up the pressure of that eraser so you're not removing as much charcoal, and you can create that really nice transition of value. So once your light to mid-tone values are gently erased with the eraser, you don't have any more outlines, and you've crisped up your edges by scraping away back and forth alongside a piece of paper with your eraser, you can take a picture of your work and submit it into Schoology. Tomorrow, we're going to be erasing the brightest highlights and increasing our darkest values with our charcoal pencils. So come back for more tomorrow.